is terrible. It's bad health care at far too high a price. We should fix that. We should fix it. And we can fix it with the Democrats. All they have to do is let the country open and we'll fix it. They have to let the country open and I'll sit down with the Democrats and we'll fix it. But they have to let the country. And you know what they have to do? All they have to do is raise 5 hands. We don't need all of them.
But so you're saying your plan is to tell the Democrats to vote to end the shutdown.
Correct. Very simple.
And that you will put forward a health care plan?
No, we will work on fixing the bad health care that we have right now. We have terrible health care at too expensive for the people, not for the government, for the people.
But, Mr. President, with all due respect, you've been talking about fixing the health care insurance plan since 2015.
Do it because of the Democrats.
But since 2015, you've said you'd fix it.
I've been talking about it for a long time. We almost did it. We were 1 vote short. We would have had great health care.
That was in 2017, when Senate Republicans failed by 1 vote to partially repeal Obamacare.
See, a lot of times these individuals act like Trump can do everything, but that's why you have different branches of government. And when you continue to spew these narratives of saying, Donald Trump, you are the president, why you can't do this? It throws out the ignorance, and you can tell that the media, the Democrats, play off the ignorance of individuals who don't know constant branches, don't know levels of government, doesn't know the structure, let alone the constant backlash that Donald Trump is receiving, right? And when you take away physics class and just world history class, we could go all the way back to elementary. Just in general, we have been taught the executive branch, the legislative branch, and there's different branches for a reason, so nobody can overpower or get into their head infatuated with the use of power where it becomes corrupt because there's one person having too much power. That's why the power is spread out amongst the branches. But when you continue to have individuals who don't care to seek the information or do their research, you are basically playing and preying on the ignorance of individuals to strengthen your argument, where you're really not strengthening your argument. You're just preying on ignorance. So you're hoping and you're throwing poop at the wall and hoping that individuals that don't know the reality of things just go along with it, right? So you basically are a sheep in wolf's clothing. You want people to follow your lead, as in if you're saying what you're saying is true, because this reporter have said, oh, well, you said that back in 2017. Now, we all know that the same way they used to say with Obama, oh, he's trying to pass things for the pro-Obama supporters. He's trying to pass things, and that's my president, but they keep giving him a fight, so he can't pass anything. They give the excuse to who they want to give the excuse to, and then the same thing in the same sense, they'll say, oh, we don't want no kings. Trump thinks he's a king. Well, how does he think he's a king if he's following the law and going along with the process and which have been put in place way before him for years, for centuries at this point, in regards of the executive branch, legislative branch, and the filibuster? And a lot of people I have come to understand and come to realize don't even know what the filibuster is at their big old age. I'm 26 years old and I know what the filibuster is. It's just a fancy word for 60 votes in the Senate. Oh, Donald Trump has control, and it's another talking point. He has control of the House, the Senate, he's the president. Well, to have fair negotiations, to be fair, to involve both parties, to have fair agreements so the other party don't feel left out, aka the Democrat Party, we have to get 60 votes. So even if the Republicans have majority of control they have majority of control, or they have more votes because they have more seats Republican wise, which is 53 in this case, you still need 7 to get to 60. So you can't keep spewing ignorance, and these people should be held accountable for it, because not only are you misleading the public, you're misleading Americans, and you're miseducating. And as far as I understand from journalism, you're supposed to tell the truth and inform the people on the truth so they know exactly where they want to stand at, and they can pick a side, having the accurate information to take a side and speak and pick a stand, but actually off of facts. So then you wonder why Trump are always saying fake media, the fake media, oh, this is that, and the fake media. Well, it's true because CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all of them obviously they are biased when it comes to spreading information. They are pro-Democrat, and they always are going to defend the Democrats in regards of their journalistic reporting, informing Americans, and that is scary. Because instead of informing Americans and making that their priority to tell the truth, to have the best interest of Americans, they rather misinform, so it sways into a political position where it's in their favor. So now it asks the question, and it's fair to ask, concern wise, you can tell that many of these media companies are bought by the Democrats.
Your response to Chuck Schumer's proposal here to keep those ACA benefits going for another year, bipartisan committee to work on those and reopen the government with the clean CR?
God, please give me patience, because if you give me strength, I'm going to need bail money. What Senator Schumer is suggesting is that we do the dumbest thing possible that won't work. Stupid should hurt more. Senator Schumer says we should just extend the status quo for a year. What does that mean? That means that we would have to take $35 billion of taxpayer money and give it directly to the health insurance companies without any commitment of lowering premiums. How is that going to reduce health care costs? How's that going to reduce premiums? The health care companies are going to take $35 billion from the taxpayers and put it into their pockets. I mean, duh. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Senator Schumer is thinking. Earth to Chuck. Earth to Chuck. Am I going to vote for this? The short answer is no. The long answer is hell no. I think we're just going to have to get used to the fact that we've been in a shutdown. We're going to be in a shutdown for a while. I voted 14 times to lift the shutdown. The Democrats and Senator Rand Paul have voted 14 times to keep the government shut down.
Well, there you have it, folks. All right, so boom, let's talk about this healthcare madness, right? I really want to get into that. I have a couple, posts that I want to share with you guys, and as always, we're having a conversation. So this healthcare madness, because people keep acting like Obamacare was some gift from the heavens, when in reality, it's one of the biggest scams ever pulled on the American people, straight up. Like, you're out here working hard, grinding 40 plus hours a week, and still can't afford basic healthcare. Make that make sense. Obamacare was sold to us like, hey, we're going to cover everyone, lower premiums, make healthcare affordable. But what actually happened is premiums shot up, deductibles are wild, and if you don't qualify for subsidies, which is government assistance to cover your healthcare, based on you working 40 plus hours a week, you're basically getting punished for not being poor enough, being government dependent, because you decide to get off your behind and actually have a job and work. And really, social services is for you to get help in time of need temporarily to give you a leg up so you continue to do better. But instead, workers are being punished for wanting to do better, which is why I say getting punished for not being poor enough. But let's really get into the structure, because people love to throw around terms like socialized medicine or free market, but don't even understand what's really happening under the hood. So what we got right now, and it's not capitalism, it's not socialism, it's crony socialism, meaning the government, with your taxpayer dollars, is covering the cost of healthcare for big insurance companies to keep racking in profits. So imagine you at a restaurant and the waiter brings you a cold plate of food, charges you $80, and then tells you it's all good though, the government's covering it. But the check still hits your bank account. That's what we're dealing with here. We are subsidizing failure, paying billions into a broken system while insurance companies get richer, hospitals get bigger, and none of us get healthier. And that's the real problem. We're socializing the risk, but privatizing the profits. Like, all the downsides are your responsibility, and all the upsides go straight to Wall Street. Now, Trump comes out with this proposal, and before anybody gets emotional, just listen to the logic, right? So, this is Trump with the post. Trump posted on Truth Social exposing how much, I mean, this was today. He posted this, Johnny Maga, at 12:02 in the morning, midnight of today, November 8th. So Trump posted on Truth Social Media exposing how much Obamacare benefited insurance companies at the expense of the American people. 1,100%, 800%, 600% surges in stock price since signed into law. Just insane numbers, a total scam. Okay? So, this is the chart that Trump posted on Truth Social. And when you look at this, he says, instead of giving insurance companies, right? Instead of giving insurance companies billions of dollars to keep playing the same broken game, why not give the money directly to the people, the American people? And he followed up with this post, Trump. I am recommending to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so that they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over. In other words, take from the big bad insurance companies and give it to the people and terminate per dollar spent. The worst health care anywhere in the world. So when you really look at that, right, Obamacare, he puts a comma, Obamacare. Unrelated, we must still terminate the filibuster. So I'll do another video on the filibuster and why Trump wants to terminate the filibuster, which I think is a good idea. But on one accord, I believe he has to take the necessary step first to actually rally around the American people to see the truth of this, to gain support. Because if he just terminates the filibuster, I believe the Republicans are going to get a lot of backlash. But that's a different video that I'll cover next. We're just talking about healthcare. So when you look at it, he said instead of giving insurance companies billions of dollars to keep playing the same broken game, why not give it directly to the people? Like you that's watching this video, me, your grandma, whoever needs it. Let them decide how they want to spend it. That's not new spending. That's not new taxes. That's the same exact pot of money, just rerouted to the consumer instead of the middleman who ain't doing nothing but cashing in. And that's called flipping the power dynamic. That's giving people choice. And guess what? When people have choice, competition happens. Right now, the insurance companies got zero reason to lower prices because they know the government's going to cut the check no matter what. It's like a rigged game, right? There's no incentive to compete, no motivation to lower cost, no pressure to innovate. But if the money starts going to the people, us directly, and we get to shop around and choose plans that fit our needs, or even use direct care options, telehealth, or emergency only plans, now these insurance companies got to work for the people as they should. What happened is the government flipped it and said, insurance company, the people work for insurance companies, but not the insurance companies work for the people. Right? And when you look at that, they got to earn our money instead of collecting it by default. You see how different that is? And it don't stop there, because here's where it gets deep. This ain't just about the demand side. Us, which is we are the consumers, the American people. The supply side got to be fixed too. You can't just give people options without breaking up the monopolies that keep prices high, sky high in the first place when it comes to insurance. I'm talking big doctor, big hospital, big pharma, all of them. Like, do y'all know that we keep caping about how many new doctors get trained every year on purpose? On purpose. Because these residency slots, they are limited. Why? Because less doctors mean higher demand and higher salaries for the ones already in the game. Why? Because less doctors, that's textbook cartel behavior is what I'm saying. And don't even get me started on hospitals, because they lobbied for rules that ban new competition from opening in certain markets. So the same big hospital groups get to dominate entire cities, jack up prices, and then cry broke when someone talks about reform. So we're getting hustled as the people, plain and simple. Trump's plan isn't perfect. Let me make that clear. It ain't perfect, but it's a power move It breaks the loop, injects some freedom back into the system, and force the middleman to compete, which is the insurance companies, right? Give people health wallets. Let them choose how to spend the money. Direct primary care, telehealth subscriptions, walk-in clinics, emergency-only insurance, whatever fits their lifestyle. And if they don't use it, let it roll into a health savings account where it grows tax-free and becomes retirement healthcare money, right? That's empowering people, because if you look at it, right? Look, it say, this is the Democrat. This is a pro-Democrat, obviously saying this is a disaster. But I'm trying to get you guys to open your eyes up to see the reality of it is. Republicans don't believe in Republicans. It's not that Republicans don't believe in help. They believe in giving. They believe in pro-choice, giving you the ability to what works for you to pave your lifestyle to actually be successful and not make you government dependent and keep you strapped to where you need to continue to depend on the government, where you're begging the government for help. When the reality is, instead of giving you choice to pave your own way and have more options and resources being available to you so you can thrive, you won't have to depend on the government because you'll be thriving on your own to be successful and work hard and be successful to be able not to be abled and to not be enabled by allowing bad behavior to continue to depend on the government if you're able-bodied. Because then if you get rid of the fraud, because that's what Republicans believe in, getting rid of the fraud. That's what I'm learning. I'm just calling both sides for what it is. Getting rid of the fraud, Republicans believe. It's not that they don't believe helping the American people, but it's a way to go about it. And it's a right way and it's a wrong way. Democrats is what I'm seeing wants to give government, wants healthcare subsidies, but that's only going to make the cost of living go up because you keep throwing money at a healthcare system that's broken. And Americans can't even afford healthcare as it is, on top of the cost of living, which is inflation. And now we're seeing dead in our faces. The Democrats are holding Americans hostage. TSA workers, air traffic controllers. They don't care if airplanes fall out the sky and explode, because it just happened with a UPS airplane, out of the simple fact that they want to get healthcare subsidies to fatten the pockets of big pharma, big hospitals, and big insurance companies, when also these are the same companies that are actually donors to the Democratic Party to have so much power to control the media and pay the media and have so much money in their campaigns. If you realize Republicans are conservative, they believe in spending less money, but making sure money goes to the right cause to make the right investment to thrive. So then in the long run, it benefits everybody and we have a booming economy. It's just that common sense. You're not going to splurge on your money and be financially irresponsible and then wonder why you're in a situation as in debt or you can't get ahead because you have rocks in your backpack and you're trying to climb a mountain, but you have so much debt and you're being swindled by insurance companies from a healthcare standpoint, from a cost of living standpoint, and then how you're going to expect it to thrive because the rate of inflation is not beating your paychecks. That's why in the first term, I think everybody can attest to the simple fact that Donald Trump was putting more money in American working class people in their paychecks. They were getting more money in their checks. His first term. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump ain't perfect. I'm not saying Republicans are perfect. I'm just calling it what it is so you guys can make your own informed decision, but actually know the facts and see through the bull crap. Because Trump is trying to give the American people options, resources that fits you so you can get ahead and actually make something out of yourself and live the American dream and actually being able to afford a house. But they're fighting on him because you to fix the system, you have to break it down and totally get rid of it or reconstruct it. Or sometimes if it's so bad, like the healthcare system, you have to get rid of it, break it down and restart over and make new policy so then it benefits the American people. Right? But that's also where you have to put your thinking cap on and logic and get out of your emotions and think from a business perspective. Because the same way you run government, the same way you run a business is the same way you run government. But it's a lot of these politicians that never ran a business, never owned a business, right? And there's always opens or options or different ways to readjust and go about changing things, and you learn as you go, because in the business, from a business standpoint, if you own a business, there's always trial and error, and you learn as you go, and then you know how to make better informed decisions, and then you can pass on those mistakes. I mean, you can learn from the mistakes and pass on what you learn from those mistakes to make the right informed decisions. So this is a power move, right? And that's trusting the people. And watch how fast prices start dropping when you empower the people, when companies realize they actually have to fight for your business. But here's the kicker: none of this works long term unless Republicans stop being soft and actually follow through with the supply side reforms, breaking up monopolies, expanding residency programs. When it comes to our new doctors, open up state lines for insurance, let new hospitals compete, let doctors practice without needing 37 licenses in different states. You want lower prices? That's how you get them. But that takes guts. That takes fighting the very lobbyists that fund both parties. So yeah, it's bold, and some folks are scared. And you know who's really scared though? Liberals, because they see this proposal and they know this flips the whole narrative. They're used to owning the whole healthcare conversation when it comes to Democrats. They scream Medicare for all like it's some magic fix, when in reality it's just more government control and fewer choices. And when you look at it, when you see this man talking about breaking, Trump just called for dismantling Obamacare and checks sent to Americans instead. How can you be against that? This would be an absolute disaster. Here's why. I'll tell you, it's better than stimulus checks when you're trying to basically um you're trying to basically manufacture the economy by keep throwing money and giving stimulus checks to people, but when they run out, they're back to square one trying to get ahead. I say this is better because this is just money being rerouted to help people actually be able to take care of themselves and actually use the monies for their health care and actually have more control of their health care. See, doctors got spoiled. Hospitals got spoiled. That's why the quality of healthcare ain't as great as it can be, because they don't have to compete. That's why private care is so expensive. Private doctors. So when you look at it, he says this will be an absolute disaster. Here's why. Redistricting the money directly to individuals would violate existing law and collapse the entire exchange system overnight. 2, giving people cash would destroy that risk loop, driving premiums sky high for anyone pre-existing conditions. By calling insurers money sucking, here go the emotion standpoint, but proposing to eliminate regulation, he's actually increased their profits, since deregulating markets let them cherry pick healthy customers and deny coverage to the rest. So I say all that to say, when you look at that, since they're so used to owning the healthcare conversation and they scream Medicare for all, what Trump is talking about, that's actual market-based reform with real freedom for people. And liberals can't stand it. That's why they're panicking. That's why they're jumping on Twitter saying you can't call health insurance companies greedy, as he said, money sucking in his post that I highlighted, right? And then you have this guy, ACA, which is another fancy word, Affordable Care Act for Obamacare, same thing. Premium tax cuts cost roughly $138 billion a year, saves Americans 7K. Trump wants to instead divide and send one-time direct payments to 336 millions to buy their own health care. Payments amounts to 1 to 410. Family average premium $2,250 a month. Single average purchase $700 a month. Trump is a moron. So I say all that to say it's pro-choice, right? And when you look at this, the people already hate big insurance, the American people. They're just waiting for a reason to flip. Because liberals, we got people on Twitter saying you can't call insurance companies greedy. Like, we don't already know they greedy. Like, we ain't living it. People hate big insurance. Like I said, it's clean, it's clear, it's pro-choice, what Trump is saying. And not the kind that gets headlines, but the kind that gives you control over your own life. And politically, this is fire. Republicans can finally go on offense, not defense. Make the Democrats explain why they're fighting to keep giving millions to insurance companies instead of regular people. And let them try to sell that. Let them try to spin that, because here's the truth. The more we keep subsidizing this broken system, the closer we get to full-blown single payer government healthcare. And once that happens, it's over. It ain't no going back. So if we're going to fix this, it has to be now, with bold moves, with real coverage, and with policies that actually shift the balance of power from corporations back to the people, baby. And that's the mission. That's the mission. That's the moment. And if Republicans don't seize it, then get ready for Medicare for all, whether you like it or not. So yeah, I'm all in on this. I don't agree with Trump all the time. I don't agree with these Republicans all the time. You know, some of them within the caucus, Republican caucus, Democrat caucus, they can all be swayed to fat in their own pockets. But I like to mind through it and actually speak the truth, because I'm pro-American and pro the people and all of this and making America great again. But that does have nothing to do with me saying, oh, you're a pro-Trumper. No, I'm making America great again. Let that sink in. But it's the best play we got right now. So let's run it. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. As always, we're here to just have a conversation and let logic trump all. And also be informed and don't be misinformed. Stay informed and do your own research, family. If you got this far in the video, I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you got some value from this video. And I was able to break down and actually mine out what's really going on out here in these streets, man. Love you guys. Catch you in the next one. Peace.